evening, all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the Township of Grosse Ile Bridge Commission meeting here for January 21st. Let's begin with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where are we at here?
Would the secretary call the roll, please?
Certainly. Supervisor Porcerelli?
Here.
And Commissioner McCartney?
Here.
John Bailey here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
And Chairman Smith-Bauer.
Here.
Our Finance Director? Here. Thank you, Teresa. Our Township Manager?
Good evening.
Derek, thank you. And our Bridge Manager? Hi, Maureen.
And our township engineer is sick tonight.
Okay, don't see him. So that completes the roll call.
Okay. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
None here.
I did request an addition to the agenda that we just quickly get a little update on where we are with our software contractor at the bridge.
Okay.
Is that
And-
PSX, correct? Is that the name of it, Derek?
Valet manager,
PSX and parking fees.
And parking, oh, gotcha. All right. Just
Okay.
taking some notes too.
And another item that we talked about here is to get a short update from our toll bridge manager, Maureen.
I-
So,
I believe that we'll get that next month, is that correct? That will be added to the agenda as of next month?
or anything you might want to say. Yeah. You don't have to give us a detail, but it'd be nice to, anything that you want to talk to the board about, we'll give you time at that as well. I'll put that down after we have staffing update, traffic study, and we're gonna have the software, and then the bridge manager. Anything else?
That's all, sir.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Motion to approve.
Excuse me, do you mean the agenda as
The
amended?
agenda, excuse me, yeah,
And so.
the agenda as amended.
All
Motion to
right.
approve.
Is there support?
And support?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes. Let's start with the presentations. Do we have some presentations on the toll bridge logo competition?
Good evening. Probably not the most important item on the agenda tonight, but nonetheless probably the most entertaining and enjoyable portion of the meeting. Just as a refresher for the public, the Toll Bridge Commission had reviewed how best to develop a new logo for the Grosse Ile Toll Bridge. Quite a few months ago, it was determined by the commission to open up a competition community-wide to the residents to provide submittals for consideration. That time period was through, I believe, the months of December and January. The period of time to submit your proposal to the township closed last Friday. So what were received were probably 25 or so logos. Some people chose to submit multiple logos. Some chose to only submit one. What I did this evening was put together just a short slideshow, which has all of the submittals on it, along with the name of the individual that provided the submittal, so that they receive the recognition they deserve for all the hard work that they put in providing the submittal. This group, I would look to make a recommendation as to the next steps. One suggestion would be to narrow down the submittal amount down to maybe like a list of 5 finalists, and then put it to a community-wide vote. And we have a variety of different methods to do that, through our communications department to allow the residents to vote as to their favorite of the finalists. But that's just one suggestion. If the commission decided they wanted to go a different route, obviously there's a lot of different options. But at least tonight I wanted to provide to you the applications or the submittals that we had received. So with that, I will start. John submitted, I believe, 5 different ideas. The following slides are the ones he had submitted. Next was Kim Thompson. Ink Crow Studios, and this is just a different iteration of each one of the designs with different color palettes. Drew Anderson. Haley Braniff. Katie and Rosie Siak, is that how you pronounce it?
Mhm.
Emma Burgess. Dave Andrus. Trevor Buckleiter.
Buckleitner. Trevor Buckleitner.
Leanne Pruitt. I believe she has a second one here. Cole Garza. This one didn't have a name or an envelope. I believe it was just dropped off at Township Hall. Harper Lozan. Emma Cook. Jeff Arnoldy. Rosalie Ross. Connie Linden. Anthony Stifer. Brian Dans. And I think that there are multiple proposals here, so not one complete one, but I think 4 different ones. This one was Jesse Kidwell, and I think the detail was provided here because I think he wanted the commission to recognize why he came up with the text that he did. So there's some explanation there that connects it to some of the history of the airfield here, and then marine aspects to it. So Diane Maccutt. Evelyn Copley. Lucille Clark. And Nick Clark. I think that might be the last one. So obviously there are a number of them there, and it's probably hard to determine which ones are your favorites just going through the slideshow. So what I can do is I can provide this to the group, this file, and then you guys can at your leisure, I think, take a look at them and decide what next steps you want to proceed with. So are there any questions? No? All right, appreciate your time. Thank you.
I appreciate everyone who submitted these drawings. They're quite good.
Especially the children.
That took
Son.
time.
Fun
Yeah.
to see them.
Put some time into it. That's a nice steal.
Yeah.
That is very nice.
I'm thinking we might have a process here that would be, take a look at them and then indicate which ones you think are maybe top 5, or if you have more than that, that's fine. And we'll start with that and see if we can get them to, if there's any consensus that shows
Yeah.
up there.
Hey,
Yeah.
Derek, is it possible, as Patrick is saying about like your top 5, if it's sent to us, is there any way to put like a 1, a 2, a 3, and that way when we do the matrix, I think that's what Patrick is saying. So we all give a top 5, and then we go from there,
Yes.
and then you make you know, how many got to this, how many, you know, number one was this, and then we'll vote on, you know, whatever, but is there any way like to put a 1
Absolutely.
and a 2 on the page? You know what I'm trying to say, like when you send it to us?
Yep.
I don't think by name, I think if we just do it by numbers, like number 1, 5, 7, 9, and then we all put the matrix together, it'd be much easier for you than the name. The names of the
Absolutely.
people.
Yep, and we can get that out to you tomorrow.
Okay. And Patrick, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, I
That's fine.
apologize.
Yeah, perfect.
I get these thoughts and it just kinda jumps out.
One thought would you suggest that the township board might be interested in looking at these as well? Since you've had experience with the logo and there might be some consistency feeling, what's your thought?
I have no problem if this commission decides the winner. That's all I'm telling you. I have no problem with that. Derek, you don't see an issue with that, do you? This doesn't have to be a vote, even though it's 500, how much is it, 200?
250.
Well, I was giving them more, sorry.
Okay,
I have no problem with this commission and not going to the board.
that's fine.
Nothing against the board, but,
Just offering it.
no, thank you, but I think this board is, on its way to making some big decisions, you know what I mean?
Okay, very good.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Derek.
Thank you.
We'll open this for public comment. Are there any public comments? Being none, we'll move on. The minutes for November 19th, we did not have a December meeting, as you all know. Minutes for the 19th, is any comments on the minutes?
None.
Being none, could I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and approved, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Toll Bridge financials. Teresa. Thank you for your reports.
Can we open that, if you can, please, just a little bit? Thank you.
Okay, so the financial statements were as of December 31st, 2025, so we are 9 months into our fiscal year. So between November and December, the total assets went up about $200,000, but the accounts payable went up $43,000. So that's a net increase overall of $157,000, which ties into the revenue and expenditure account. The reason the accounts payable is so high is because of how December 31st was a holiday. This is the timing of the end of the month, so that will clear out, and that's why there's, in the fund check clearing up in the assets, there's approximately the same amount. Usually if there's any balance left in the fund check clearing, it has to do with voided checks, and I clear that out at the end of the fiscal year. The customer deposit bridge passes and the deferred revenue, those are pretty consistent. And we are recording the revenue, or Maureen is recording the revenue on a daily basis. She records everything in our system. I review the entries, and then we do the bank reconciliations. The balance sheet shows, if you look in the fund balance section, the year-to-date revenue over expenditures is just over $1,450,000. Any questions?
I had one, Teresa, and it's a high level. As far as, so the fiscal year 25-26 will end May
Right.
31st.
Right, our fiscal year ends March 31st.
And that's consistent. The township and the bridge are on the same
They're all the
fiscal year.
same because it's part of the township.
Perfect.
Yep. So for the third column on the revenue and expenditure report for the month of December, our total revenue was $466,608. On the expenditures, and everything was pretty consistent from what we've been tracking from month to month as far as the revenue. On the expenditures, everything was consistent. This is through December 31st, 2025. So we actually still had one more almost full payroll with the toll bridge employees because of how the payrolls end. So there'll be one more month that has their payroll in it as well. We had our first pay of January had their time from December 21st to December 31st. Some of the significant increases in the professional services, we had a payment to the engineers of $176,000. There's a credit under telephone. At the time of the acquisition, there were a lot of things that had to be put in place, a lot of people involved. There was a telephone line that got set up that actually wasn't being used. So we ended up getting a credit. And that credit was more than what we paid out in the telephone expense. That's why it's a negative. So we got money back on that line that we actually never used. And near the bottom, property taxes, that's the final winter tax bill. That's one bill, and that bill is so large because the prior owner classified the toll bridge as personal property. And it's actually, we don't. It's a very permanent structure, but that's the actual toll bridge parcel. That's why it's so large, and that will be the final property tax bill that we pay. Because we've completed paying all the property taxes for 2025.
That's the $57,516.24.
I'm sorry?
That's the 57,000, yes,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
Is that property tax paid include Riverview and Grosse Seal?
Yes. This is, the total does, yes.
Yeah.
It's both communities. That particular bill was a Grosse Ile bill. It was just a little bit delayed because it actually goes to the toll bridge rather than just coming right to us. So, but it's still being paid very early. Actually, it's not due until February, so.
I had a question on the professional services. The bulk of that is from H&H. I think it was 175 with the 176. They billed us around 36,000 in August, and then it went up a little bit more than double October. I think it was 70, almost 80,000. Now it's 175. We're in our last quarter of the fiscal year. Last
So
year you did a yeoman's budget
Yeah,
on it. Do
no,
you
it's
have
based
do you have
on
a
the work that they
forecast?
do. It's first based on the work that they do in the timeline that they send the invoices. I don't believe they necessarily send them every month.
Well, my question, if I could finish,
I'm sorry.
my question is, this has gone kind of parabolic a little bit, right? From 30s to 80s to now over 170. We're closing out this fiscal year. You're going to create a new budget that would. Do we have any forecast now that we're at 70% as far as right now? The revenues for the bonds it's a big number, right? But I'm just kind of wondering, we're exceeding as far as in cost cutting, doing great on engineering costs. I just don't know as far as, is the next one gonna be $250,000, right? As far as, so it'd be great if we could ask them, or if you already have this, as far as how much expenses do you forecast in the next, at least 2 quarters?
So we do have a contract with them, so the projected costs are $3.5 million, $3.6 million. So we are quite a ways away from that. When I get to year end, preliminarily, I would take whatever that contract amount is less what we've already paid, assuming we would need to pay the entire amount, and then I would, speak with the township manager to see, is it really gonna be that full contract amount? Because sometimes it
That's what
can be
I'm wondering,
lower.
as far as, I don't think,
Right.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that their contract was a not to exceed price, so.
Right.
We would just have to take a look at, like Teresa said, what the contract is, how much has been spent to date, how much is still outstanding, and whether that full outstanding amount would be incurred within the next fiscal year, and then we budget appropriately. We'd also take a look at whether there's been any additional engineering expenses or expansion of the contract that's occurred, which there has been, because we were looking at the traffic engineering, which was a plus add. So we would take that all into consideration, then budget appropriately for what we would incur in the next fiscal year. But yeah, to answer your question, we do know what those costs are, because I believe it was a fixed cost budget, or a fixed cost proposal.
So do you think we're gonna go all 3.5?
Yeah, oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I would expect that, just knowing how these things work at the beginning, you're dealing with some of the conceptual thinkers. So you don't have as many people working on it for that period of time. As you get into the details, which is the 30%, you spend some more. And I would expect that when we get into the heavy-duty part, which they're into now, and we're expecting 70% in the end of this month, right? Or first part of
February
second.
2nd.
So that bill will be, I expect, to be bigger. And then the next one where they finish the drawings is also probably gonna be bigger. And then after that, it tapers off because it's follow-up on construction.
Great lead-in question, because I know bigger, and I've watched the invoices go bigger. I was just trying to get an idea on the forecast of when these
Yeah.
bigger is gonna happen and what they might be.
I think there was one in the queue that was around 290, 300.
Right, and I was just gonna say that we just paid a bill this month that was almost $290,000.
And that seems to make sense to me.
Will the engineering firm oversee the construction as well?
That was part of it.
Okay.
Nice.
They don't manage it necessarily, but they watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way to put it. They oversee it, yeah. And typically, that's maybe 25% of the whole project. Maybe it's only 20, going from when you're out to bids, wrapping it up from there on out.
Good to know.
So you can see, originally it was estimated that the engineering cost would be $7.5 million, because when we did the bond issue, the goal was that first phase the goal was to cover the purchase price and the engineering costs. So, their contract amount actually came in less than that, so that's more that we have available for the purchase price, which we'll look at when we do the phase 2 of the bonds.
So if we had surplus revenue from the engineering bond, then we would take that surplus revenue and count it against construction. So in theory, that bond could potentially be less than whatever the surplus was, so that's all good news.
So if I understand this correctly, as we go along, if there's any opportunity to not go full millage on the bonds, that would happen more toward the end, because you're gonna keep rolling any excess into what's
Yeah,
going on,
so-
going forward.
Right, so when the finance director and the assessor, they take a look at whatever the levy should be, they'll take into consideration if there was a reduction in the bond amount, which should translate into a reduction in the millage amount, but that's all yet to be determined.
Right.
Because we don't know how the bids are gonna come in, so the fact that we have some cushion on the engineering is all good stuff, but, the chickens haven't come quite home to roost
yeah.
yet.
I'm
So
not
we-
presupposing anything like that, I'm just wondering. So you just keep rolling any excess in if it happens until the end, and And Teresa does her magical closeout.
So then the net profit,
I have a question.
oh, I'm sorry.
On the first line of the revenue, property tax, how do we gain revenue from property taxes?
So all of
bridge.
our tax millages are, for the township are on the winter tax bill. So as we're collecting the money, it actually goes, and we have a tax collection fund. And, every line item has to go in a specific
So this is
pot.
an allocation from the township taxes
Yes.
to the bridge?
Yeah,
Okay.
based on the millage rate. So every time somebody pays a tax bill, we have it's set up for each one, and it automatically spreads it to the proper
got it.
ones.
Okay.
And then periodically, and I'm just doing it right now, since we started, well, I did one since we started collecting in December, and I'm doing another one. So I look at what came into that tax collection fund that's due to all the other funds, and then move the money and record the revenue. So you'll see a big jump in that at January 31st.
Sure, okay.
I try and do it, every 4 to 5 weeks.
Understood. Thank you.
And taxes are finally due at what time?
February 14th.
Yep.
February 14th?
Yep.
So by that time, you'd be closing in on your $1.3 million that you projected?
Usually our collected taxes are 95%. And any delinquent taxes, the tax roll is sent to Wayne County for our real property taxes, and that's all real property now. And they send us a check to pay us for that. It comes end of June, beginning of July. And so we're made whole on those real property taxes. If something happens down the road and that it's not going to be collected, sometimes we have to pay money back to the county. Since that seemed to happen a lot when I was a finance director of a school district. But since I've been here, we get monthly settlement checks from Wayne County. And every month, they're giving us money. There was 1 month where we had to pay them, and they're very small amounts. So, when we get to the end of the year and I reconcile everything and I record that money due to us, the revenue will show the full amount based on the taxable value and the millage rate.
Was this a specific, this revenue wasn't from the specific bridge line item on the property taxes, was it?
Yes.
It was, so
Yes.
there was, I don't remember, I was just
Yeah.
looking to see if I had.
It's 1.645
That's
mils.
right.
It was the minimum millage rate that was in the ballot language.
All right.
And when you did the original budget, I'm assuming you estimated what that would be, and that's where you came up with the $1.317
Yep.
million, $1.3 million. Right up at the top, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's our expected revenue that we'll have. Very good.
And just for clarity on my end, so if we do have some percentage of delinquency on the island, the county makes us whole again?
Yep. They make us whole on the real property taxes. On the personal property taxes that are paid by businesses, they don't. But our personal property taxes are very small, especially with the state of Michigan keeps increasing the exemption amount. So we do have some delinquent, it's relatively small, and they pay, but they pay they hear no matter how old it is. Once we remit the tax roll to the county, if they want to pay their property taxes, they have to pay it through Wayne County.
Wayne County picks up the collection responsibility.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bridge Rehabilitation Status Report. Progress schedule and the progress report number 5. You want to give us a quick update of that, Derek?
Just copies of both were included in your packet. I mean, everything seems to be on track, as was mentioned earlier today, tonight. 70% plans are supposed to be completed by February 2nd. Variety of different permits have been applied for, so they're in the process of making sure that our permits are on track. We had a progress call, I think, last week,
Yeah.
and we had talked about
Wednesday.
utilities, talked about utility coordination, but everything seems to be on track. For those that were on the call, anything to add that you found notable?
I would just add that there was a lot of discussion about the traffic study, and we're close, we hope, to getting that finalized so that you can take it to Wayne County,
Yeah, and
start that discussion.
and now might be a pertinent time to have that conversation, even though it's down on discussion items. If
That's fine.
If you guys are amenable to that. So the township, through H&H, contracted with Clark Dietz to do a traffic assessment, to review potential infrastructure improvements on actually both sides of the bridge, to potentially undertake when the toll bridge is down for construction. So what was reviewed at our last meeting was the most recent iteration of the traffic adjustments, and I believe a copy of that was also included in your packet for review. So there was a variety of conversation about the next steps. I think that the conversation was about maybe having a standalone meeting with Clark Dietz to go over some of their suggestions more in depth, hopefully here in the near future. So most of it centered around the expansion of the lanes on the west side of the bridge to include a dedicated right-hand turn lane as you're headed northbound, and then also some change to some of the signal infrastructure there at the intersection of Jefferson and Bridge, and then also the modification of the toll booth area to when the free bridge is closed, to incorporate a third lane, or a third lane inbound towards the island, which would include the addition of another toll booth. There were some conversations at that meeting about wanting to have Clark Dietz review the merging concerns that a third lane presents as you move towards the east past the toll booths, when you have 3 going into essentially 1. So we wanted them to take a look at that, and then also potentially reviewing expansion of the eastbound lane from Jefferson to the toll booth if there is capacity there. So I think the overall interest is to maximize the ability to queue as much traffic as we possibly can, to maximize the ability of toll pass individuals to get to the plaza, avoiding those that are waiting for, cash payments or credit payments, and then obviously leaving the island, making sure that you have as little of a bottleneck by trying to have 2 lanes of traffic outbound, if at all possible. So that was pretty much the nature of the conversation. Like I said, next steps would be to maybe sit down and have a standalone conversation with Clark Dietz to go over things in detail and further detail. And then following that, once we have those designs down and we can all agree to what's being proposed, then, I think my thinking would be, and hopefully the Bridge Commission would have some thoughts on this, but incorporating those improvements into the overall project scope, and maybe have it as a sub-project to our primary project.
So the concept is that while the toll bridge is down getting repaired, this road work toll plaza work, everything gets done simultaneously.
I think that would be optimum, yes.
Have they looked at the access to the bridge for that project as well as doing the road and everything else? I see a conflict. I see, you can't, there are some aspects that can be done in parallel, but, you'll have a lot of heavy trucks with a lot of big steel, a lot of big cranes coming in. I just wonder how, and that's what that ties me back to this. Now that we're at 70% and we have incorporated the traffic study, have they got a conceptual timeline going out potentially through completion, project completion and reopening that includes all these high-level aspects? Because you need somehow a visual to say, well, there are aspects of the road work or the toll plaza work that is going to impede access to the toll bridge itself for the work.
Yeah, and that's a very fair point, and definitely should be considered. I haven't seen a projected construction schedule. I think this takes it up to bids due, I think, or something like that, which I believe is
Yeah, bids due end of June.
right. And I don't think they go beyond that. But yeah, that's definitely something that they'll have to consider is, we don't want the road work to get in the way of the bridge work and the bridge work to get in the way of road work, and we don't want heavy trucks on brand new pavement and all those sort of things. So that'll have to be something that we keep on our radar and make sure that they're following up on that.
One possible solution to that might be if the general contractor who performs the construction work on the bridge is also responsible for all of this work.
Right.
Then it becomes that contractor's issue, coordinate all that activity.
Exactly.
And then we don't have that
That becomes
conflict with the
their-
contractor.
Their issue to schedule.
Subcontract to
Yes.
the general.
And let him,
So if we can get this Clark Dietz design down, we can ask H&H then to build these improvements into the overall bid specs. And then, like you mentioned, you have a prime that's probably, the majority of the work is bridge stuff, and they might bring in a sub just to do the road work, yeah. And then that's on them to coordinate it. Yep.
That's a good idea. For the benefit of anybody who wasn't in our engineering review meetings, the Clark Dietz had an initial approach where they recommended a license plate system. We had some conversation on that. They went back, looked at it. I had the suggestion of the 2 pay lanes coming on rather than just one. And basically their report now has the 2 pay lanes, 1 pass lane coming onto the island. That's what's recommended. And then the exit on the other side. So the way that would work is 2 lanes coming on normally, 2 lanes leaving normally, but under free bridge shutdown time, the 1 exiting lane is free exit with no toll. You pay double coming on. And the second exit lane going off the bridge becomes a pass lane coming on, and you have 2 toll takers there at the time when you're operating under heavy load.
I want to compliment our chairman on bending them to his will and, and thereby giving us a really good product that hadn't really been conceptualized before he had some ideas.
Yeah, and the overhead is an illustration of that, and we had talked to them about if you're gonna do that. And speaking with Maureen in operations, you need to have an extra toll booth here to be able to facilitate that, so they'll be incorporating that into the design. The other aspect that we haven't mentioned yet is there is a Wayne County involvement in all of this, especially because we're dealing with issues up here at the intersection of Jefferson and Bridge. So the supervisor and other representatives of the township, once we have this design kind of solidified, will need to meet with the county to have a conversation about at a minimum permissions, at a maximum participation in some of the work that we'd like to do out there, so.
I got a question for you. Absolutely. I know there's kind of a commingling with Wayne County and us doing different work. Am I correct, Derek, that from, let's just call it, I guess, when you come off the bridge where the plaza is, where our property ends, you're kind of going west then to the north. So let's use that line. Wayne County doesn't control anything east of that line and what we do, correct?
East of that line, correct, yeah,
They
so
d-
like the plaza.
Yeah, they won't have control over what we do to the plaza, what Patrick was just stating about the choke, about the 4 to 3 to 1, what he was just explaining. So any of that, Wayne County, we need no permission
Correct.
because it's Groseal Township property. Isn't that correct? And then we need, when we deal with Wayne County, it's gonna be from the corner of Jefferson only up to that line, isn't it?
Right, and then also, so part of their proposals includes work on Jefferson. So they're recommending new, traffic signals in this area.
Yeah.
And then on pavement markings,
Right.
so obviously,
Obviously that, but anything east of our, you know what line I'm talking about where you
Yeah,
see it in
dude.
the roadway, it
And-
delineates.
I think Paul did a nice job of saying, hey,
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah,
But-
he did. No, but that's what I'm saying. So that's
Right.
one good thing.
And-
And the second thing, Derek, I would ask of the commission too, is in my experience, obviously, and this is what you're stating, we can get Clark Dietz like on a Zoom and have the commission have a separate, would you call it a meeting? Cause we're all gonna be there, or a study session, or how would you, but they would show up on Zoom, correct? Cause there's some questions that we're gonna have for them before we decide on which way to really go with this, you know?
yeah, absolutely, yes,
Okay.
yep.
Division
that's
of
the
labor, Division of Labor, right now we have the office, used to be Paul's office on the barge. I know there's some insurance issues. Do we even still need that office anymore?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've had conversations with Maureen about whether it's necessary or not, and I think she said, well, it may not be, but it might be. I mean, I think she said, we really don't need it, but there might be some value in maintaining it. Because, number one, the main trailer it's fairly cramped and it's fairly loud and there's a lot going on in there. Having that additional trailer, I think provides some additional quiet workspace, you know, and allows the management to be able to get away and do some more managerial work without being interrupted by general function of the plaza. But it doesn't mean that we couldn't accommodate that. You're better off answering that than I, but.
No, Paul actually did not want me in the same trailer with employees because it was his personal business. I feel that it wouldn't be a problem if I had moved up there. It would give me better eyes on what's actually going on operational wise with the staff. Right now, all the electronics and everything are ran down underground to that barge though.
Yeah, I saw, when I toured, I saw the infrastructure that's in there, and it's a closet, right? And you can always accommodate the closet in the existing structure. Moving that structure is gonna be very expensive. And then the bulk of that space was an office. So as our, congratulations, since I haven't seen you, as our newest operations manager, will you have an office here, or will you be 100%?
I believe I'd be on location.
Yeah, I think the intent was to be having somebody, you know, a township employee at the bridge.
Okay.
And that
I
was
just,
our intent.
I just looked at the cost and the size, and then I was just like, do we even need something of that size?
Yeah, and that's a legitimate point, and I guess something to be further discussed as to whether it provides value, especially, I mean, we can get a price on it and see whether it makes sense or not, you know, and then kind of go from there. But definitely needs to be talked about. Yep.
So would Clark Dietz also be doing the architectural drawings for the moving of that, or would that go back to H&H as far as who'd be?
We would have to see whether or not H&H had that capacity. They're a pretty big organization, I would assume they probably do.
Okay.
And then build that in probably to the project scope, and then get a price on it, it'd be an alternate one or alternate two or something like that, to see what that cost
That's a
would be.
good way to do it.
Yeah,
But if we could, for Teresa's forecasting and budget, if we could have that as a sub-project, because I could see that getting expensive quickly.
yeah, and it would probably be an eligible expense under the bond revenue, so it would fall under the project, you know, funding. But, you know, that's something we can talk about, absolutely.
You may also want to include that in whatever roadway work you do, because as we talked in the engineering meeting, if we move the trailer closer, to the other trailer, off the barge, closer to the other trailer, then, you know, there's some issues there in pavement and space and generator location, so all that has to be coordinated.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
now you're thinking
Good
what I'm
point.
thinking, because I walked it, I looked at it, I looked at all the operations of the bridge, all the fiber optics for the networking, and that all goes in there. So there's quite a bit of infrastructure there in terms of the electronics of the bridge. And then you have the generator, then you have all the service containers there, as far as there's a lot there. So then I go back to, do we really even need that? Is there some way, is one trailer bigger than the other, or are they both the same size? Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know how we capture that. What's the, as far as, would we open a sub-project to track that cost as far as moving the trailer and making that decision? Because I can see it going over $100,000 easily.
Yeah, and you might not have all the information available to make that decision at this point until you, I think the first thing would be to understand what the cost would be for an H&H to put together some sort of spec to be able to do that, and whether that makes sense. And then if the costs are minimal, then, you know, we can at least go to bid on it as sort of associated with, you know, as part of the project, and then analyze whether that makes sense or not, too.
And the go, no-go, is it just a little bit more? Is it double, or absolutely no insurance available?
We were having problems obtaining insurance, period.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because there might be a cost benefit, like, oh, it's $200,000 to move it, but we're only paying $10,000 a year more in
Yeah, it was-
insurance.
yeah.
We just cannot get insurance on the barge anymore.
Correct. That's been a challenge, yep.
And the preliminary estimate from, on the pavement rework is $629,000 to do the pavement.
Which page are you on?
That's in the packet. It was part of the Clark and Dietz report, page 16.
Yeah,
Thank you.
16.
So that was their initial estimate. Now, does that include everything? We don't know that yet. But it gives you an order of magnitude of what we're talking about for the pavement work.
Yeah, the pavement work that, from the last couple of engineering meetings, that made sense, right? The six, I was impressed. It was just, the extra office, the extra barge office, for want of giving it a name. I know that was standing out there, so I didn't know if we were gonna do this as a separate project, or how we were gonna account for it, how we were gonna forecast it.
Good points. Okay, anything further on the traffic study? All right. Then let's move on to, we're into action items here. And the first item is the staffing update.
Well, is that action or discussion?
Well, it's a discussion item under, well, it's action items, but it's discussion, yeah. It's a discussion item.
Okay.
I don't.
We're not voting on anything.
I don't expect we're gonna vote on this, yeah.
So the easy one first, as was mentioned, I think, by you, Daryl, congratulations to Maureen. She's our new toll bridge operations manager. That employment arrangement was approved by the board, I believe, at the last meeting. So congratulations to her.
Congratulations.
I think that is an important hire. It solidifies the township's presence and a lot of institutional knowledge down at the bridge. So that obviously is the easy aspect to staffing at that bridge, and a very critical one. There were some emails that were distributed earlier today regarding the Wallman contract. The actual contract itself is still with the attorney being developed. There have been some changes in I guess the proposal that need to be incorporated into that agreement, and because they've been changing over the past couple of weeks, it's been difficult to pin that down within that agreement. What was presented to you today was an analysis presented by Wellman and a comparison as to their original proposal. So that was given to you because it needs to be considered by the commission, because it's a slight change in the overall project scope and pricing. So Patrick and I had a brief conversation about where we go from here regarding those changes earlier today. So I don't know if, Mr. Chairman, if you want to kind of expand on that a little bit.
Well, we've seen that there's been a number of suggestions were made, some of which add more people to the bridge workers. Also adding some part-time help in addition. There also may have been some other things that we were talking about doing within that realm. Plus, there's been some discussion on what's happened to insurance costs since the original proposal was put in like last March.
Specifically health insurance, is that
Yes,
true?
exactly. Yeah, health insurance. Many of these are yet to be sorted out. Now, you've seen some of the emails go back and forth on that. My feeling on this is that we need to consider this as a contract in negotiation. And we don't have a final contract at this moment, but there is a contract in negotiation that we would like you to proceed with. And if there's any support you need from anybody on this board to be able to do that, we certainly can provide that.
Yeah, I think there's some really good minds on the commission that we would like to, I think, partner with to review the modifications and pricing that is being proposed by the Wallman Group to ensure that, we're accountable to our dollars and understand exactly what they're asking for. So Teresa, obviously very capable, but very capable and needs to be part of that conversation, but it would be good to have a number of members of the Toll Bridge Commission in that analysis so that you are comfortable with what is being proposed and you understand it because you've been involved in the analysis. So I think if Teresa and others that might have interest in reviewing the proposal Wallman's put together want to sit down and kind of go over that, I think that would be worthwhile. So because we've gone from a proposal of X and now we're to a proposal of Y, and like the chairman and I discussed, I think we all have to have an understanding of where exactly that additional cost is coming from. And I know, Chris, you feel very adamant about some of the positions the township should be taking on that, so maybe it'd be good to have you involved in that. Based upon our interview of the various consultants, you guys have a very good background with staffing, costing, and that would be good to have your input there. So
Yeah, I mean, I understand price changes from, almost a year when the scope of work went out to today, but it's difficult to be able to really understand what we want is in terms of scope creep or increase versus what they're saying is, oh, well, we missed this, or, hey, this changed, or whatever. It's just so a bridge to go from what was submitted, when we do the reviews, October, I guess, September, October, we did those reviews, to today to show, okay, these positions, again, you want to do as much of an apples to apples comparison as you can to see, incremental head count, certainly, that would certainly add to the cost. But if there was a miss on their part, well, it's a miss on their part.
sure, yeah, and I think also Maureen would probably it'd be beneficial to have her there too, because I know that in where we're at right now, there were some staff suggestions that are being made that made sense, that improved operations. So justification for that would be good to hear, because when we were looking at that, operations was consulted about what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and that input be valuable too. So
Since we've already gone into the new year, and the big goal was to get it done by the end of the year, and that has since come and gone, so now we have, we have a little bit more time, I would imagine, that we could take a bit of a slower pace and really analyze this and understand what's causing the changes.
yeah, so I don't know if you can get with Teresa and any others that would be interested to
Certainly,
set up
I
some
would,
dates, Patrick, to figure out some dates to kind of go over, and I can be part of those meetings too, and so that we all have a very thorough understanding of things and we're comfortable with whatever, you know, we'd be moving forward with, so.
Yeah, the objective would be to reach a good conclusion that makes sense, and is any changes in costs are well documented as to why.
Right, that's a great way to put it, yeah.
And Derek, great job as far as on the transparency, showing the differences, so thank you. It was pretty easy to follow.
Good, good. Also, in addition to that, there were some additional proposals by the staffing company for uniforms, and that was included here for your consideration. I don't know that we're to that point, especially with the costs that have been presented. And, you know, so, but our job was to bring it to you for consideration if you have any interest in that, so.
Yeah.
The consultant isn't saying, hey, we need to do this,
Yeah.
it's up to the commission whether that's something.
Well, we have to get the logo figured out first, and then we can do the
Yeah,
uniforms.
that's a good point.
And uniforms are premature,
Yeah.
given where we're at on this
Okay.
contract.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
further discussion on the staffing?
No, just what is gonna be our next step in terms of setting up a smaller group review? Is Teresa, you gonna
question.
send out some, is it gonna be, like, try to do it during the day or in the evening, or how
Do you-
soon are we looking?
Is there a preference for you?
Is there-
Evenings or?
Well, I
during
think
the-
we should do it in person. I think, for me, evenings after work.
Evenings is better,
yeah.
okay.
I've got some issues that might keep me from being there in person, but depends on when you do it.
Okay.
But I certainly would want to be part of it.
Do you want to send some availability, some dates that you're
Sure.
available? And
Yeah.
then
Yep.
we'll try to.
And
coordinate.
then we'll let you be the point person in setting that up.
Okay.
Very good.
Would that be a study session,
No, I mean, we could do it as probably as a work group.
a work
Yeah,
group? So can that be remote? Can anybody participate remotely? in a
I'll have
work
to
group?
check with Brian.
Okay.
Generally,
I
if there's
think
a,
that's yes, but
That might
yeah,
help
a
you.
meeting of the commission that's got quorum, then, you know, we wouldn't be able to do that.
well, that's true.
If it's more than.
There's only three could actually, without a meeting, so it wouldn't matter. You can make any meeting at any time you want or whatever. Or a study session.
How did we do it last time when we actually met and
It was a
interviewed?
published meeting.
Yeah, it was a
Published
regular meeting, but
Okay,
it just happened to be,
yeah.
who showed up.
Now, we got some direction on that for the engineering review meetings.
We did,
remote.
so there was some direction that permitted that,
This
because
might be similar.
for some reason, but,
Well,
if, yeah,
Let's
I'll
I'd
defer to
make
Brian.
decisions here, though.
have to check with the
Fine.
deputy
Yeah,
clerk.
if there's
as
no
well.
That's great.
decision-making, and it's information, it's like all of us could go to a class.
Yeah.
We could go to a school together, but I'm not so sure, and not going against anything, but I'm not so sure that four of us could sit in this meeting where there will be decision-making, and there will be questions, and there will be, we have to come up with consensus, or we have to come up with, this is a little more than just us going to a informational
Yeah.
setting, if you will.
Yeah. Now, there's decision-making, but it's really a negotiation of a proposed contract. Has the
That would be
Yeah.
a meeting. Now,
Yeah.
now you can always go, if it's a negotiation for a contract, you can always just have it, if there's a concern, like, we have it at 7 o'clock at night, but it can be a closed session because it's for negotiations.
Yeah.
That's one of the exemptions for the OMA. If you're saying this is, and that's what it is, I'm not fudging anything, I'm just saying, if it's to negotiate our contract,
Right.
that's different. That's a different. But
And I think, Joe, we're still at a gap analysis, right? As far as Derek and team, they're negotiating this contract. There's been some cost. I know I've experienced some insurance cost increases, and things are just different, right? 9 months later, so I'm not sure we can actually put 2 or 3 bubbles and say, here's the cost increases, and are we comfortable with them?
Right.
So I think we got to get that understanding. That's very much like when they presented to us the first time, as far as where we could compare and contrast, right? That little gap analysis. Then once we have that, then we can decide, okay, let's put this to a more formal body, review it, and have it all on one page. Because right now we have spreadsheets, not one page.
I don't have anything new on the bridge ordinance. I had put that on there in the hope that we would have some progress on that, but coming off the holiday, I don't think there's been much, so that, I'd like to carry that over to the next meeting, and then we can have a conversation about that at a later date.
Derek, before we get too far off on this negotiation, do you have any big concerns, or is this just going to take time to get the details and figure out the gaps?
No, I don't think it should take too much time.
But you don't have any big concerns other than understanding where we started and where we're at now?
I have concerns that we need to resolve this as soon as possible.
Shared.
That's probably my
Shared.
biggest concern.
Okay.
As I mentioned in my email, you know, even in a worst case scenario, I think we're still okay financially, you know, with our personnel budget. So, but it needs to be resolved for stability, you know, to resolve this and get a contract in place. It's consuming a lot of time, and it seems like things are popping up on a daily basis where we need to solidify this and move on.
Just an example, you don't have any good faith, things are progressing, right, as far as you work on contracts all the time. Other than figuring out the gaps and the cost differential, you're still happy with everything progressing?
Yeah, things are progressing,
Yeah.
and there's,
And I think, you know, things are going well at the toll plaza with the workers and everything. They seem to be okay with the, you know, they were terminated from all our insurance policies as of December 31st. You know, they went on the new policies, and I think everything's working out well as far as that's concerned. So it's just,
I asked this
It's
10,000-foot view. Right now, I'm just focused on the numbers.
Yeah.
I want to make sure
Yeah.
there's nothing else really for the Bridge Commission really be focused on other than the numbers.
Well,
Thank
just
you.
the
right.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you, Derek.
Yep.
Thanks, Teresa.
Good. Okay. Then I'd like to discuss what's happening with our software.
as was mentioned in the email earlier today, we have a meeting with PSX and Parking Base tomorrow. The list of deficiencies and issues that operations have had with the software were forwarded along to them quite a few over a course of the past couple of months. When things weren't being resolved at the speed that we would like, we ended up getting legal involved, and I think a copy of that correspondence was included in your pack, or at least I think it was emailed to you earlier
Yes.
today. So hopefully you've had an opportunity to review that. I received a phone call from them probably, I think it was last week, to set up this meeting. My understanding is, at least according to them, that they resolved the majority of those issues, and they wanted to take that meeting to be able to review it with operations to show them where those issues have been resolved. So depending upon how that meeting goes tomorrow and whether administration and operations is satisfied with that, you know, we'll determine whether or not we're in a good spot or not to start resuming payment to them. But I believe outstanding invoices date back to October or so, October or November, because we withheld payment for lack of performance. Operations continue, they're still supporting everything, but, you know, obviously we were not satisfied with them performing within the conditions of their contract with us, so that's why we withheld payment and demanded service. So, any questions about any of that?
On that meeting tomorrow, discussion with Daryl, he's suggested he might like to listen in on that meeting. Is that, and maybe Christine?
Absolutely, if you have interest in that, we can get you the link. It might be a little bit foreign to you, some of the stuff we're talking about, but I think that email earlier today, you know, summarized a lot of the different stuff, and it probably, with your guys' background, probably makes a lot of sense.
4
anyway.
decades in software, I
So
think
there you go, you
I'll
understand it.
manage,
Yeah.
I'll muddle through.
Muddle through it.
And,
So,
and I thought that the township attorney's letter was to them was really good.
good.
It really laid clearly.
And if I could just add, I know you guys came in on the commission a little later than actually the purchase date, so. And Derek, I want to thank you, what Derek has had to deal with, and Teresa.
Yep.
Where's my operations manager? And Maureen had to deal with this company. I didn't want to pay him anything in the beginning. I'm just telling you. Now, they convinced me, how about, like, I think it was like 50% or whatever we paid him, and I didn't want to pay him a dime, but of course that was my emotion, not logic. Derek and what you three went through dealing with this company was, you guys can't understand it. That letter that the attorney sent, I thought was spot on, and I have no problem, and I know the board will have no problem. I know that we're gonna get some answers tomorrow. Hopefully, this will work its way out, but if it doesn't, I have no problem dealing with it in another forum. I'm serious, and I'm adamant at that, because you can't imagine what we went through from the beginning for 3-4 months in a row of unbelievable debacles with this company. I'm just telling you, it was, and it wasn't something that they did in the past either. They did so well in the past. And we converted what he was using for how many years to us. And I don't even want to get into what they did or what they tried. I don't want to get into that, what I perceived and what I saw. But I think that letter, and I just want to point this out, that letter, it might have seemed rough, kind of tough. No, good.
Oh, it's
Because I thought she
spot on.
was spot on, and if we have to take further action, I know tomorrow, though, with Derek and who else is on the meeting tomorrow?
I'm,
Oh, okay. I know that we're gonna get some things done. I really believe that they're gonna, they're a private corporation. They don't wanna pay legal fees. They don't wanna go to court. They're gonna have to defend it if it happens, and that's not something they wanna do. Fixing it is so much cheaper for them than to have to litigate it. But the point is, what they did to us, I mean, I know I sound terrible here, but I know you guys came in later, and in the beginning, it was absolutely a mess for these three individuals to deal with. It was the hours that it took, and I'm just rambling now. So, but anyway, thank you. And if a couple of you will be there tomorrow or could hear it, that would be a beautiful thing.
Derek said he's gonna send me the link.
and
So.
me.
And Chris.
Did you want to be part of that?
No. No, too split, no. I would, yeah, this is unacceptable, but my question is, do they have the capability of shutting off the system remotely?
They do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that kind of sets the tone a little bit. You wanna,
And they pulled that before.
have they?
Yeah, I think when it was the transition between the closure of the Free Bridge and the reopening of the Free Bridge. So the Free Bridge was closed and then it reopened, and we needed then to adjust 6 and 3, and we didn't have a contract at that point in time because we were still negotiating rates, and they withheld service, for that. So, but now we have a contract, so we have a little bit more, I think, legal skin in the game, but yeah, it's been a challenge. And I feel for operations, because it impacts them more than anybody when they don't have the tools necessary to be able to provide service to the community, to the constituents, to the users of the toll bridge, or do their job. So it really impacts them heavily.
We're not paying.
Well, I'm sure that you'll proceed upon advice of counsel, but what it has done to the staff hours is, I'm sure, will be part of the consideration of how this all settles out financially in the end.
All right, we'll get you that link for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, Derek, for everything.
And I'd like to ask, or give Maureen an opportunity to ask us any questions or give us any information that you might seem. Sorry to put you on the spot. I didn't intend to do that. Yeah.
First of all, does anybody have questions for me?
Why are there traffic cones in the middle of the bridge?
Well, Derek does not know about this yet. Yeah, we had some pavement when we came in this morning. We noticed that there was a pothole over in that area. I called John, and he came out and did a cold pack. I'm not exactly
cold
sure
patch.
what that is.
Okay.
But, so we'll be keeping an eye on that until it warms up, and he said he could put something more permanently for the rest of the season. So glad you noticed that.
I noticed that the broomer this morning
Yeah.
was just, the way the wind was doing it, the way he was rotating the broom, it was basically just coming back,
Yeah.
coming back and coming back. Why can't we use a plow?
Well, the broom is much,
On the steel grade, I'm sure.
on the steel
right?
grade, we
Yeah.
can't do that, but we do try to keep, anything, if it's an inch and a half or less, we do the broom. It's just easier to manage. You're not going to hurt any of the structure of the
Yeah.
cement, which we don't believe that pothole is from,
Oh,
you
it's
know,
right
the
in the middle,
Bobcat.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's smack in the middle. And we usually only use the bucket for along the edges, you know, getting it off the curbs, moving that off,
Right.
because if it starts melting, then it creates a problem of once it gets cold again,
Yeah, it freezes.
it will freeze in that area, so we're trying to avoid that.
But you had traffic cones on both ends of the bridge. There's holes on both ends? Cause coming home tonight, it was on the island side, and there
There's-
was one on the other side, I think, last night, so it looked like there was one on each end of it.
I'm only aware of the one.
On the Riverview
On
mainland side?
East side, east
On
side,
the island side?
yep. Yep,
Yeah,
on
I
the
thought,
east side
well,
of it.
maybe, okay.
So we do have cones sometimes if they have to close up, and we have cones in the, you know, in between on the
Yeah,
cement.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, let's jump to staffing with the new, staffing agency. It seems like the employees have, you know, are taking the changes in stride. They, you know, there's different rules that they have to follow with them, such as clocking in, communication, who their supervisors are. But we're still working as a team, even though I am, you know, with the city now. They know my door is open, and if they have any issues, you know, I've encouraged them to come to me because I don't want to lose that staff, you know, so, and anything that I find out, I do share with Derek
Good.
on those. I'm looking forward tomorrow to the meeting with the IT company. There are a lot of things that we have been requesting for quite a long time that we still do not have. And I did notice the monitor was not on the list. And that is one of the big things, that we had a monitor that actually was in the booth that could allow the toll attendant to know who they're talking to, because their name would pop up, along with their, what's on their account money-wise, what was deducted, if it was deducted or not. And that's something I've been pushing for, because it's a safety reason.
Sure, yeah.
Because if they, and then they just tell East area, which, you know, if you have two cars and one's stuck, you can't tell which one it is because it just says East area. So you're not sure if that gate's lifting for the correct person. So that's another, you know, modification I want to have on that monitor like we used to have. And it keeps the toll attendant in the booth. There's a lot of times that people will just sit in the express lane because the gate didn't open. We don't know who they are by name. We used to be able to say, "Are you John Smith?" They would say yes. We would look at it, say, "Oh, well, you're out of money. You need to come over here." They just kind of sit there now. And then that means the person in the booth has to get out and walk across the roadway. And I've explained that to PSX and to Garage, and they still have not. That's one thing, that's on my wish list. That's at the top, because I want to keep those toll attendants safe.
Has there
So-
been any payroll issues with the transition? Anybody that's,
Payroll?
anybody that checks were late or incorrect or missing time or anything, they got
No,
it, they got it
not,
pretty solid?
as of right now, we're still handling it as we did with the township. They are bringing in a kiosk for them, and then everything would be done by them. I'm just involved right now is getting that information and scanning it and send it over to Wallman, but that, he's hoping that will be taken care of within the next week or so. He's waiting on for the equipment. So they will totally just log in, log out, and at some point, it will just get sent to them.
Where they have a badge to swipe when they come in? or-
I believe it's a kiosk, so it's all just gonna be
Oh,
hand. He
okay.
wanted to do the phone, and I did not think that was a good idea, because a lot of times those phones, you can be in a certain perimeter area, and you can punch in, so they could be out in the parking lot,
or in the river
doing
or
whatever, punching in, and then coming in, and we would never know when they actually punched in. So, security reasons, I requested more. I would rather them have to do it in-house, basically.
Sounds good.
So,
Did you have any employees that did not come with Wallman?
no. Everybody did roll over. At the end of, whoever was with us for the last couple months. We did lose a couple that transferred over from the bridge company that left us.
That's
But yeah, everybody else that was currently there when they took over stayed,
Good.
so,
a couple.
Okay.
anything else?
Thank you for
Okay.
everything.
Good to
really.
hear
Thank
from
you.
you.
Thank you.
Once again, congratulations.
Give him the business tomorrow, Maureen, okay, for me? Because Derek says I'm not allowed to be there.
I second that.
I have some vocal issues, he says. We're getting that taken care of though in a class.
Derek covered that there's nothing on the bridge ordinance at this moment. So before I move into public comment, does anybody have any other issues that you want to bring up?
None here.
May I
Please.
just state something? I just think, I gave Patrick a phone call, but I think I need to tell all of you this. It's not a big deal. But as this commission, anything that occurs, I think I need to keep you informed if something comes around. I got a phone call from the county, and they were nice about it. I mean, they really were. They said, you know, Joe, when you guys had that emergency and you needed to put some signs up, I go, yeah. He goes, well, you just put them up, didn't you? I go, yeah. And he says, I get it. It was an emergency in Riverview on a Wayne County road. We put those signs up. He goes, well, now that we don't have an emergency, you think you could remove them? I said, certainly. I got with Derek. Not sure if they're removed yet. Doesn't matter. We'll get them done this week. But I think you got them down today. Oh, did he get them down? The weather was so bad. I was going to say, wait till the weather gets a little better in April. But so I spoke to him. He said, don't worry about it. I get it. You guys had an emergency. You had so many problems. And I don't know if you know, but Wayne County Sheriff was also helping us out. They were contracted to help us out. Well, the signs did better than the traffic direction would do, because it showed you what to do, where to do it, as opposed to, this stuff at the intersection. No, it's true. I mean, no offense. I was there one day in my life, and that doesn't really get it too well. So anyway, thank you, Derek. We got it done right away. They were very, very good to us. It wasn't like, they didn't, no consequence, obviously, but they said, and then what can happen is we can talk about putting it up when you want it for the next one. He said, if you want some new signs, let's all talk. And he says, I get it, though. It was an emergency. I said, absolutely it was an emergency, because we were losing our minds over this due to the fact that the traffic was rotating in different areas, if you will. So anyway, I want all of you to know, thank you, Derek, for getting it done. I think John went down there, removed the signs. Wayne County is very happy, and they're happy to work with us. And this is the relationship I want to keep with them. It's really, and I'm going into this a little further, it's a much different relationship than in the past with Wayne County. They are very good to us. They are, this new group that they have with the group we have here, or really Derek and myself, that have to deal with them. It's a very, I don't want to call it a symbiotic relationship, but it is. You do for me, I do for you, because we're supposed to do that. And it works very well. So anyway, I need to tell the rest of you in case you drove by and it's all gone. All our signs are gone. So, but they also wanted us to do it because they would have taken the signs somewhere. They said, we want you to keep them in case you want to put them back up. I said, we'll do that.
So since you have such a wonderful relationship with Wayne County.
Oh, geez. Let me get my notepad out.
How are we interacting with Wayne County in terms of their concepts, their plans, their timing for the county bridge?
Oh, they're working with us very well and making sure that all of our upgrades are going to be done first, and they are working on theirs. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but they're also had a study, and Derek, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in our meeting with Wayne County, they said they're actually looking into a study for a whole new bridge too. But they do want to get their upgrade, I don't want to call it upgrade, how about repairs? They have repairs, we have upgrades. After we are totally done, and they are good with that because the bridge is good. The county bridge is good, there's no issues with it failing or anything like that. So they've been excellent with us because we told them, Derek would give them our plans, our timing, engineer timing, upgrade timing, rehabilitation timing, and they said we will make sure that our timing, county speaking, will be absolutely afterwards, the whole thing. We will not have two bridges down ever, or kind of hit your tail end and make sure you're, they've been good. They've
Because
been really
their timing in terms of how long they're closed impacts our operations.
Yep.
And to be able to lay that out and kind of understand how that fits, because we're doing traffic lane modifications and toll plaza modifications to support not the closure of the bridge, but the closure of the free bridge,
correct.
right? To be able to facilitate the flow of traffic
Correct.
coming in and out. So I don't know what the cadence of their meetings are. I don't know if there's a report that they send out every quarter or something, or
No, not.
monthly, or do we sit in on the, I don't, or does our engineers reciprocate with theirs, but at least to understand, hey, we plan on being down 2 years.
We meet with the county every so often, and that comes up, and they give us a verbal confirmation on it. But each thing they stated, they stick to it. They have been with me, which is great.
Okay.
Good.
Which is great.
Also, H&H is in contact with the county as well, because
They're
aren't
doing
they
work
also
for 'em.
doing work?
Yeah,
on
no,
the
they're doing work for
Free
them,
Bridge?
yeah.
So that's been
Yeah.
another conduit
Oh,
for
that's good.
communication.
That's very helpful.
That's very helpful, yeah.
Yeah. So, didn't mean to ramble on that point, but that was
No,
really,
I just-
that was a good
you-
question, because
Good.
they've been very good. I can't say enough about how Wayne County has been very good to Groseal Township. That's all I can say.
I lived long enough to hear that. This is wonderful.
First time you've heard this in a
Wonderful.
while, hasn't it, Ben?
Since the free bridge is in great shape, they can take the speed bumps out.
That would be a no. I called him last week. Sorry, but that's a no. He told me he
Hard
did.
no.
I called him last week. I've been getting phone calls, and somebody tore part of where the sidewalk and steel work is. They went up there and they hit it with a car and ripped part of it away, so they'll be replacing that. And I looked, you can't see. It's not down to the water. Amazing.
I wonder if they'd get better compliance if they had one of those flashing light signs right as you enter the bridge that says 25 miles an hour, because
Yeah,
that would really get attention. But in talking about communication, that does, Mr. Chairman, remind me of one more thing I'd like to mention, if that's okay. I'm wondering if there's a way to close the communication loop with the commission if something happens at the township board or elsewhere that affects the toll bridge, for instance, the approval and appointment of Maureen, which was so wonderful. And I know some people became aware of that by watching the township meetings or whatever, but is there any possibility perhaps Margie in the office could alert us to anything that happens at board meetings or otherwise that affects the toll bridge, so that we might have that before we have our next monthly meeting?
How about if you want to talk? No, I was going to say, how about if anything comes up, I have the group email that I just email you, or, if you want to do this year,
No, absolutely. As a liaison, that's perfect.
Yeah, I just thought,
The other thing too is a lot of times the issue will originate out of the bridge commission. Like, for example, you guys made a recommendation. So then it'll go to the board. So a lot of times it'll start here and then go there. It
Right.
doesn't normally go the other way around, but if it does, yeah, the supervisor could probably update the commission regarding things. Or even if there's resolution on something, you guys would like to know, hey, this was resolved at the
Yes.
board, that we've been talking about it, then absolutely.
would that be okay with you to do it that way?
It
Or
would
do
be
you want
great.
something more
Fine.
formal?
Yeah.
I'm not the
No,
most formal.
doesn't need to be
I'll just send you an
formal,
email.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be
perfect.
good.
Just close the
Okay.
loop.
Yeah, if it's an emergency, it could be a text.
Oh, yeah, I have your numbers.
Yeah.
I have your phone number.
Yeah, very good.
That would be great, thank you.
Like 3 a.m., like call you, Patrick?
Or 4.
Or 4.
Yeah.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other issues here? Okay. Then if not, we have public comment that's open. Are there any public comments?
Hello.
Thank you for attending.
Absolutely. What else would I rather do on a Wednesday evening, right? Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the board, Derek, Maureen. I know this takes a lot of time and energy, a lot of effort, and this is a huge and important part of our infrastructure now, and it takes a lot of time, it demands a lot of time. So thank everybody for handling that issue. When I saw the agenda, something that kind of caught my attention, you answered most of those questions, so I won't go into anything else, but one of the things was I saw, and I understand a little bit more now, was the $70,000, nearly $70,000 request for uniforms. In my opinion, and it's gonna let it go there, we have a company we contract with to employ these and have these employees there. I think, I'm just throwing this out there for you guys to mull over when this comes up again, when you guys have to make a decision. I'm kind of thinking anything outside of like OSHA requirements, the township probably shouldn't be responsible for, the bridge company or the township. That's my 2 cents on that issue. Do what you will with it. I mean, I know eventually I'll see it again eventually anyways, but that's just how I'm thinking about it right now. I think anything outside of OSHA is probably not our responsibility. So, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And I think that's not the first time you've thanked us, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. No other comments? We'll move on. Just a comment from mine, and it was kind of mirrors your comment. That is that I'm impressed with how this board works together. There's a spirit of cooperation. Our whole approach is to try and make sure we have the bridge operating well and financially in good position, and that the improvements are done well, engineered well, and also done within budget. And so far, it looks like we're on track for all of those. So I appreciate all the work you're doing, and love working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back at you.
Okay.
I certainly appreciate it.
Any other comments? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.